No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for November 13th, 2023. We have War Games coming up very soon. Let's get right into this Raw recap. Shout out to Caleb Jacobs. His birthday is Tuesday. Happy birthday, Caleb. Now, we kicked off Raw with the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. He talked about having memories at the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Did not mention the launch of AEW, but I think that's what he was referring to. He talked about the tag team title match, and then he brought up War Games. He brought out his team, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. Guess who interrupted? Judgment Day, because that's what they do. They tried to stir the pot, brought up the history between Cody and Rollins, how they hate each other. Cody fired back, though, by saying that Rhea Ripley is the leader of the group, and Damian Priest said that he is actually the leader. And then Rollins wanted to fight with Dominic and can't even say his name, J.D. McDonough. Still not a fan of that name, but whatever. They accepted the challenge, and the match was made. It was Sami Zayn and Seth freaking Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio and J.D. McDonough. They kept targeting that bad back of Seth Rollins. Dominic busted out the Three Amigos on the anniversary of Eddie Guerrero's death. Sami Zayn tagged in, and JD pulled Dominic to safety. They actually tried to leave, but Zayn and Rollins went after them, got them back in the ring. Dominic was able to avoid the haluva kick, but then Zayn and Rollins went over the top with stereo dives. Judgment Day got controlled during the commercial break, and then things started to break down. Rollins hit the buckle bomb to Dominic and then was going for the curb stomp, but then the rest of Judgment Day showed up and attacked Rollins. We had a disqualification. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso ran down. There was another brawl. Officials came out there. J.D. McDonough ended up taking a spear from Jey Uso for Damian Priest, so he took the bullet for him, and Pierce was pissed off, and he said, for the main event, the tag team title match, everybody involved in the War Games match would be banned from the arena. So you know something's going to go down regardless. Adam Pearce could say that all he wants, but you know there's going to be shenanigans. More on that in a few minutes. So I wasn't a big fan of this segment. I felt like all of this was really just a rehash of what we've really seen for the past several weeks with these guys. The real advancement, I suppose, in the story was that J.D. McDonough took another bullet for Priest, but he's already been doing that for weeks. So again, it's basically just rehash. And backstage, Rhea Ripley was upset, and Pierce said that Judgment Day doesn't run Raw. Zoey Stark then interrupted. I think I might have said backstage. If I did, it was actually in the ring, all of this, with Rhea Ripley and Adam Pearce. And Zoey Stark confronted Rhea Ripley, and Rhea did put over Zoey, talked about Zoey getting the feedback and influence from Trish Stratus and beating Becky Lynch, yada, yada, yada. Said maybe one day she will be a champion, but it's not going to happen on the same brand as Rhea Ripley, Rhea Bloody Ripley. And Rhea told Zoey to get out of the ring, and Zoey said she'll be champ at Survivor Series. Rhea tried to attack her, and Zoey sidestepped her, and Rhea went over the top, and Zoey's music played, and that was that. Don't really care about this match. Zoey Stark's not winning the title, so it is what it is. And then backstage, Cody Rhodes was with Seth freaking Rollins, and they got on the same page for now. Cody says he just needs Seth for one night, and Rollins said he might never like Cody, but he respects him and promises that they will be good at War Games, Survivor Series. We then had Otis versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Pretty basic match here, and to me, predictable. I mean, last week, Nakamura beats Tozawa. This week, he faces Otis. So, okay, he's beating Otis, and then he's going on to Gable. It's like, okay, we get it. Match was fine, though. You know, the crowd likes Otis, and he got in plenty of offense. It was competitive. He tried to go for the Caterpillar, but Nakamura got to the outside. And then eventually, Otis was able to deliver the Caterpillar, but Nakamura kicked out, and Otis countered a Kinshasa with a power slam. Nakamura kicked out of that. Otis went for the Vader bomb, but Nakamura got his feet up, and then Nakamura hit not one, not two, but three Kinshasas to put away Otis. So they did protect Otis here a bit. And then after the match, Nakamura taunted Chad Gable. Pretty much what you would expect going in. We also had a War Games video package explaining the rules. If you've seen War Games, you know how it goes. One guy in at a time, everybody's in there, and then the match officially begins, I guess, and then it's pinfall or submission. Then backstage, we had a segment with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. McIntyre offered a handshake, said that Rollins was right, and Rollins accepted the handshake. McIntyre congratulated him and said he's going to work his arse off to get a rematch with the champ. So everything good. McIntyre seemed to be humble, but was it a swerve? Was it not? Stay tuned. We had Tegan Nox versus Piper Niven. And this is when the show started to really nosedive. Like, first of all, the crowd did not care about this match whatsoever. I feel bad because they're really trying with Tegan Nox to get the crowd to care about her. They showed the video of all of her surgeries and how she keeps coming back from them. But yeah, no crowd heat for this whatsoever. And it was a pretty basic match. I mean, it was sad because Natalya was out there trying to get the fans to chant. She was trying to start a Tegan chant, and it was pretty sad because maybe like a couple dozen people were chanting, and it lasted like 5 seconds. So anyways, you had interference from Chelsea Green. She got on the apron, and then Natalya went after her, and Piper attacked Natalya and then went for a crossbody to Tegan, but Tegan avoided it and hit the shiniest wizard, but Piper was able to get her foot on the rope, and then Piper regained the upper hand and tried to sit down on Tegan, but missed, and then Tegan rolled her up and got the 1-2-3 victory. So they did protect Piper Niven in this match. She did not suffer the loss to the shiniest wizard. I mean, match was very basic, and I don't know if the crowd's ever going to get into Tegan, but they definitely have a ways to go. Some better music might help for one thing. Just throwing that out there. We had a backstage segment with Ivar calling Miz a clown, saying he's not going to make it to Survivor Series. And I will say this. Ivar should not be talking, because when he talks, he sounds like maybe your uncle, like the really nice, friendly uncle that's chatty with everybody and just wants to have a beer. Like he's like the least intimidating sounding guy there is. Like he sounds like your lovable uncle when he talks. So yeah, does not fit the character whatsoever. They should not have him talk. And then Bronson Reed interrupted the segment, and they're teasing something between Reed and Ivar. Valhalla got in Reed's face at one point. We had Tommaso Ciampa versus Ludwig Kaiser. Speaking of maybe getting some better music, the DIY music is the shits, to put it mildly. So Ciampa versus Kaiser, and I was not a fan of this match. I mean, the match was all right, but so here's what happened. Vinci grabbed Ciampa's leg. Referee ended up kicking out Vinci, but guess what happened? When Ciampa started to make his comeback, Vinci just reappeared. He kicked Gargano, and Ciampa was a stupid baby face. He got distracted. Kaiser rolled up Ciampa and got the win. Like I was not a fan of this whatsoever. It's like why kick the guy out if he's just going to show back up anyways? Like it's pointless. And once again, stupid babyface Ciampa. So yeah, was not a fan of this. And then Rhea Ripley officially made Damian Priest in charge for the War Games match. Then we had Indi Hartwell with Candice LeRae versus Xia Li. Another women's match that people did not give two shits about. And why would they? Like, Xia Li has been off TV like practically the whole year, as has Indi Hartwell. So yeah, there's not much of a reason to care about this match. They're trying to do something with Xia Li, but like Tegan, they got a long ways to go to get people to care. Like the entrance, they're trying to make her come off like something special, but it's definitely a work in progress. And Xia won again with the referee's stoppage. She kicked Indi. Indi collapsed in the corner, the spinning heel kick. And then Becky Lynch came out there looking for a fight, and Xia Li retreated, said she'll do it on her own time. But then Becky revealed that they already have a match set up for next week's Raw. There you go. Then we had a backstage segment with Gunther and The Miz. Gunther said it's all fun and games, but it's over at Survivor Series. And Miz said that Gunther should watch his match because Miz will do whatever it takes to win. And while this was going on, we're supposed to take this match seriously. You got Nikki Cross standing there acting goofy way out there in the background. Like, why do you need her out there for this type of segment? I don't know, but yeah, it was dumb. And then we had another backstage segment with Raquel confronting Zoey Stark and Shayna. She was actually giving Zoey some props. So I guess Zoey's a babyface now. And then Nia Jax showed up and laughed at all of them, called them cowards for teaming up on her in that number one contenders match. And then Raquel stepped up and said that nobody has tested Nia. So I guess we're going to see Raquel versus Nia Jax. I really don't care personally. Then we had Miz versus Ivar. Match was all right. Pretty basic stuff here. Miz was struggling to get Ivar down, tried to clothesline him over the top, finally did it on the third attempt. And then Ivar took control when Miz was driven into the LED apron screen. And then back in the ring, Ivar delivered a spinning side slam. Miz kicked out of that. Then we had Bronson Reed come down. He took a seat at ringside. Miz made a comeback. Valhalla took a cheap shot. Ivar came off the middle rope with an avalanche power slam, but Miz kicked out. And then Miz managed to regain the upper hand and then pinned Ivar using his feet on the ropes, which would normally be a heel move, but since Valhalla already interfered, it was fair game. Miz picks up a victory, gets some momentum for his match with Gunther, and then Bronson Reed attacked Ivar with the tsunami after the match. Those guys are going to feud now. There you go. We had a backstage segment with Damian Priest meeting up with JD McDonough. Said that he still doesn't really feel McDonough's ready, but McDonough took one for the team, and thus he's willing to go to war with him, and he officially welcomed JD McDonough to the Judgment Day. Whoopee. We then had Imperium backstage, and Gunther was very pleased with Vinci, what Vinci did to help Kaiser win. Was not impressed with Kaiser. He walked off, and then we had Jinder Mahal issuing a warning to Kaiser. So not sure what that's about, but yeah, we got Jinder Mahal. There's still a thing. Jinder Mahal and Shanky, or whoever the other guy is with Mr. Cumming. What was his name? Now I forgot his name. He's been gone for so long. The guy that's always coming. Whatever. Not important. We had Alpha Academy with the Creeds backstage, and the Creeds were wanting to maybe become part of the Alpha Academy, and said maybe they can go for the tag team titles. New Day, they then came in, and you had Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile talking about how weird the men are, and then Tozawa had his own title. Kind of a stupid segment. It was goofy. Didn't really find it entertaining personally. It's just a filler segment to get New Day on TV. And it was Veer, by the way. I forgot his name. That's how important he is. We then had our main event of the evening. And up to this point, I mean, I thought this was a boring Raw up until the end. I was going C- until the end. Like, it just felt very underwhelming. Not much happening. Filler show. Like, I felt like up until the main event, if I had skipped Raw, I wouldn't have missed anything too significant. Pretty lackluster. So the main event, Judgment Day versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. Pretty long match here, back and forth. Easily the best match on the show. And Jey Uso was thrown over the barricade, and they worked over him for a while. Not over the barricade, over the announce table, I should say. Cody Rhodes got a hot tag. Then Jey came back in, delivered some super kicks, came off the top of the Uso splash, but Priest kicked out. And then Cody Rhodes hit the crossroads to Priest. Jey Uso hit the spear to Balor, and then they double teamed Balor with the Cody Rhodes cutter. But then Priest broke it up, and then Priest took Cody to the outside, threw him into the ring post, and like a piece of the ring post broke, which was actually a pretty cool effect there. And then Cody was choke slammed on the apron, so he was out of commission. Jey Uso, though, kept the momentum going. However, swerve, just when we thought like he was humble and everything was good, Drew McIntyre showed up at ringside and laid out Jey Uso with the Claymore while the referee was distracted. And then Finn Balor pinned Jey Uso for them to retain the tag team titles. They pulled the trigger on the Drew McIntyre heel turn, and just in case you weren't sure about it, as McIntyre was leaving, Rhea Ripley came out and offered a handshake to Drew McIntyre, and he accepted. Drew McIntyre is now aligned with Rhea Ripley and the Judgment Day. I don't know if this means he's an official member, but one would think Drew McIntyre is now going to be on their team for Survivor Series, and Cody's team's going to need some backup. And who will that backup be? Well, I know what I would like, but I have a feeling, and this will still be good, but we all know what I would really like. I have a feeling it's going to be a certain 3 letters to help even the odds. So we'll see what happens next week on the Go Home show. Hopefully they put on a stronger show. The final segment and match, to me, that elevated what was a below average show. So I'm going with a C+. I was going to go with a C-. I bump it to a C+ for the heel turn. They did finally execute that. Like, if they didn't do that, then I would have felt that this entire show was pretty much a waste of 3 hours. But they did do that big angle at the end with McIntyre, so that was good. And I would recommend checking out the main event, but that's about it. One of the weakest Raws of the Triple H era, in my opinion. One of the dare I say lackluster shows of 2023 from WWE. And Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, says, if Randy Orton is coming back, how would you handle it? Well, I think it's pretty simple. Next week, the show ends with everybody beating down Cody's team, and you hear the Voices song. Randy Orton comes out there, hits some RKOs, and the good guys have some ray of hope. But I think they're doing a match where I'm not sure what match they're doing next week, but they're doing a match where the winner gets the advantage for his team. So I wonder what's going to happen with that. And if Randy Orton is there, like, wouldn't he make sure his guys get the win? But then again, you don't want the good guys having the advantage for psychological reasons. Like, you want the heels to have the advantage. Just that's what makes sense. So I'm curious to see how this all plays out. I mean, yeah, the bad guys can win, and then Randy Orton comes out at the end, but then you wonder, why didn't he show up sooner and help his guys secure the advantage in War Games? Not sure what they're going to do next week, but we'll see what happens. And Rage of Wrestling, shout out to Walter. Walter sent in a $10 super chat. Thank you for that, Walter. I appreciate it. Says, Judgment Day gains a member. Now we tease Dissension and Imperium, the group we actually like. I guess to get Gunther to the next level, he has to leave the stable behind. The others will get lost. I agree with you. I think that it's going to be a struggle for Kaiser and Vinci without Gunther. I think it's a mistake to break them up right now. Like, could they be building up Kaiser to possibly beat Gunther? I mean, I guess that's a possibility. And they could pair up Kaiser with Tiffany Stratton. They're a real life couple. So there might be something you could do there with them. But if it was me, I would not break that group up anytime soon. Judgment Day, though, I think Survivor Series should really start to be the beginning of the end. Like, if they kick out Damian Priest, maybe have McIntyre run it for a little bit. But I feel like it's just really getting old with Judgment Day. Like, we're seeing the same matches every week. And certainly by the spring, when we get the draft, I think that has to be it for Judgment Day. We got to shake things up on Raw. Like, it's really getting stale now, and Survivor Series needs to be a turning point as far as the Judgment Day storyline goes, in my opinion. I definitely would like to see something significant happen that starts to break up the group at Survivor Series. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope they pick it up with next week's Raw. Not every show can be a winner, and this one was not a winner except for the end, in my opinion. So thank you all. Have a great rest of your week. We got predictions coming up for Full Gear Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. And real quick here, Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. It says, should Randy Orton go after Roman Reigns after War Games? I'd be fine with that, but I would think that Randy's going to be part of Monday Night Raw. I would like to see Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble, though. Like, that would be a good filler match for Roman heading into WrestleMania. And it would make sense, Randy Orton trying to get revenge for what happened to his bro, although it would probably be the same thing with all the outside interference. I really think what they should do, I'm just saying this now, for the Royal Rumble, I think they should do the Bloodline 4-way. Like, I'm wanting to see that match, and that way we're not going to have the shenanigans. You know, we'd actually have a clean finish or some kind of a different finish at least. Roman Reigns defends against Jimmy, Jay, and Solo, and you can kind of have the storyline where Roman and Solo, are they going to be on the same page or not? Solo is in that match to help Roman, but will he really help Roman? That's the question. I think that's what they should do. If it was my pick, my decision, I'd do the Bloodline 4-way at the Royal Rumble. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. I appreciate it. Says, today in history in 2005, the same day we lose Eddie, Christian Cage makes his TNA debut. A bit of a sad day, of course, with Eddie Guerrero's death, but also Christian Cage showing up in TNA, and that was a big moment for his career. He was not really being utilized as well as he should have in WWE, so he decided to take his leave. He went to TNA, became the NWA World Champion, had a pretty good run, and then went back to WWE, and he was on ECW for a while, so he didn't get pushed super hard right away, but he did end up with a world title run and had some great matches with Randy Orton. I saw one of them at SummerSlam, and I think that's the great thing about Christian, that he could make something of himself regardless of what company he was working for. You know, he showed that he could succeed without the corporate machine behind him. And he's been doing that in AEW as well. So hats off to Christian for that. Anyways, guys, thank you all again for tuning in tonight. Much love and appreciation. Enjoy your week. And remember, say yeah to NoDQ.com. Pick up a t-shirt at NoDQ.com/merch. And I will see you all next time.